Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and doing fine, and thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about my current whips. They are 3 blankets because blankets are my favourite thing. I have this temperature blanket which has been going all year, which every few days I add a few of the granny squares to. All right, this is your wintry colours. This was cool. Summertime was green, and the really hot days are the gold. This has been such an enjoyable make. I put making one of these off for such a long time, thinking I wouldn't keep up, but this one has been a breeze with just the 2-row granny squares. I'm going to venture out a little bit further next year now that I know I can cope with this one. We'll just have a little look. I'm really liking it. I really like it, except for these dark navy blue squares. They're a different brand to the rest, and I wish I hadn't put them in, but you know, you live and you learn. I won't use that again next year. Okay, next up I have these hexagons. This is a crochet along called Vibrant Vintage Cal, designed by Rachel at Cypress Textiles. Every second year she does a VVCAL, and what I've done here is this year's hexagons and 2022's hexagons. So I've ended up with 70 hexagons. Now I am going to leave it there. I'm kind of had enough of hexagons for the moment, but my highest priority is to do one of the grandchildren's blankets, because that was my goal for the year, is to crochet a blanket for each of my grandchildren. Something really very special, actually. So this is what I've just started, and I'm using this book as the patterns. It's Esme's book that has 100 different panel patterns. So you mix and match and come up with something unique and wonderful every time. I'm using hand-dyed yarn that I dye myself. If you're curious about my yarn, I have an Instagram page called @gumleaf_yarn. When I am able throughout the year, I dye up a batch of yarn and sell them on Instagram. I'm forever thankful for the ladies who trust me enough to pay me on Instagram. And what I love about it, not only do I love the zoning out and the zen while you're creating this yarn and the colours, but the excitement from the ladies buying the yarn, oh, that is just something else. That's something I never had in my previous job. You know, it just makes them so happy, and that makes me happy. And then, you know, they'll ask me, would I do a commission for them? And once I've got my sale out of the way and sent all the packages off, yes, I happily do commission work. And currently this year I have been struggling to get the period of time free. I thought I might have been able to do it at this time of the year, but we've soon got to go and visit our kids up in far north Queensland. Then I hope to get it done once I return. Anyway, back to this. So this year was the year of the grandchildren blanket. This one is for little baby Ochre. He's a 1-year-old little boy who lives here with us. Well, not with us, but you know, not far away. So far I've done a moss stitch, which is linen stitch or granite stitch. That's blowing the colour out a little bit, but it really is very nice. a ripple stitch in a nice ochre colour, and a single crochet stitch in a gold yarn with an ochre fleck. I'm actually up to panel 4, but I don't know if I like it as yet. I've got some fiddling around to do and some thinking to do. I'll just let it settle in my brain and see what I come up with. What could be nice here is a two-tone, having the background different colour to the popcorns. I'm unsure at the moment, or I could just leave this for the border. Don't know what to do. I'll figure that one out in time. And that's all I have going at the moment. I have more, but I have pushed them aside, and I'm not even going to show you because they'll get done once this is finished. This is my highest priority. Righto, let's get into having a closer look at these whips. A temperature blanket is a blanket where you are recording, say, the highs or the lows of temperatures of each day according to a colour that you have allocated. So what I'm doing is one little granny square for the highest temperature of each day in my town. I find that by going to the historical weather data, I write down what the highest temperature is for each date, and then I have a look. So 21.6, 21, and I go up to 22 if it's over the 0.5, is waterfall colour for that day. So then I make a little square, and then I'm using the granny stitch, join as you go, to create this blanket. So let's open her out and pop a little square in together. Sweet little gum leaf stitch marker from a friend in America. It was so kind of her to send that over with some hooks that I bought that she was not enjoying, but I do like. Okay. I usually do this every few days. Let it build up a little and then do a run of them. I already know that I want to do another one next year, but what I would really like to do is the highest temperature and the lowest temperature. I'd be putting the lowest temperature colour in the centre of the square and then the highest around the top. So they're just 2 row squares. The blankets that I've seen that are combining the highest and the lowest temperatures look absolutely gorgeous. There's plenty of these tutorials online. The join as you go stitch, it's just so easy and fast. No fuss. I really love it more than any others. You don't have to just use granny squares to make your temperature blanket. You can do rows of all sorts of different stitches. I've seen them done in hexes where they do one little center, the lowest temperature, and then a few rows around the outside in the highest. And all of them look effective in their own way. This is Parchment Stylecraft Special DK I'm using as the join colour. Now we go along here. last cluster. So this one's a really easy one to keep up with. I was always concerned that I would fall too far behind and not be able to keep on top of things, but this one's worked out well. So there's our 4 new ones just put in today. All right, let me explain what's going on here. My goal for this year was to crochet each of my grandchildren a very special blanket out of yarn that I've hand dyed myself, and something that goes with their bedrooms, so it's all matchy-matchy. And some of them have been out of this book. It's a mix and match modern crochet blankets book by Esme Critch. It is amazing. It has panels with all different patterns, and when you put them together they just look fabulous. There's just so many to choose from. So I love this book, and this blanket is actually for baby Ochre. He's 1, and these are the colours going in his bedroom. Let me pop them aside. The first panel I have done is out of single crochet. It's a gold coloured yarn with an ochre fleck. It's a merino 85% and nylon 15%. Now, you'd think, seeing as though I've crocheted for 8 years, I would be able to crochet straight edges without losing a stitch, wouldn't you? But look at this. And by the time I found it, it was just too late. So I am going to block that one out. And once it gets sewn into the blanket, I'm sure it will be okay. So I was pretty disappointed in myself. I thought I was going along great, and look what happened. So there's a good reason for counting your stitches all the time. I tend to get carried away and think I'll be all right. Righto, next one is moss stitch, linen stitch or granite stitch. And again, I lost a stitch halfway down. I pulled it back this time. And I also find when I'm crocheting and getting faster and faster, I get tighter and tighter. So I did pull that section undone, and I need to learn to slow down. Just to slow right down instead of trying to get things done in a hurry. It's really only because I've got so much to do that I try hurrying along, but it doesn't pay off in the end. So this is linen stitch. It's so gorgeous. It's a really elegant stitch, but I think this yarn has made it fun for a little boy. There we go, just to show you. Oh, hook stuck. Oh. See the flecks? Aren't they gorgeous sprinkles on hand-dyed yarn? The next one is a ripple. I didn't lose any stitches on this one, probably because I did have to concentrate. It's a nice, easy pattern, and you get on a roll with it. It was meant to be in the back loop only, but I was finding the fabric created was just too stretchy, and I just didn't want that for the blanket. So I pulled that back and stopped using a 5mm hook and went down to a 4.5 and didn't use the back loop. So I'm crocheting into both loops for this one. So you decrease here, decrease again. Oopsie days, hang on a tick. It's 2 DCs together. So you've decreased 2 stitches. Now we go up the side of the hill. And up the top, we increase 2 stitches. So it's 2 DC in one, 2 DC in one space. And we go down the side. Again, there's plenty of ripple patterns online. And we get to the bottom, we're decreasing 2 stitches. It's a nice mindful pattern to do actually, where you can just drift off, very calming. Two stitches here. And that's it. So I have a bit left. I can't finish off the ends of these panels until I've done all of them and I know which one's the shortest. So I then have to pull them back so they're equal to the shortest panel. I hope that makes sense. Then any yarn I have left over, I will do around the back. I'll just bring this over to have a look there. Not round the back, round the edges, just to make the blanket that little bit bigger. So if you love this book, you want to go and check things out, go to Instagram, because Esme is called Red Sparrow on Instagram. And you'll be able to look at some of the patterns that people have made. She got 100 panels. Yes. I made my eldest grandson a blanket from this, and I called it the Cammo Blanket because that's what he wanted it to be called. And it has these colours. When I get to Townsville, I will actually take some video of it to show you. It is a stunner. I'm so very happy with it. I made that one in a 4-ply yarn because it's so hot up there. So he can still use it, but not overheat at the same time. And the next little grandson will also have a blanket made from that book too. I've yet to show you what the girls have got, but that will come in due time. I forgot to show you panel number 4 that's on way, but I'm not sure if I'm liking it. I don't know. I feel like this pattern would look better as a two-tone with the beige as the background and maybe the ochre as the popcorns. I'm unsure. I'm actually going to have to sit on that one for a while and have a play, because I got Mum to choose which pattern she would like to be in the blanket, and I need to sit with them in the colours and fiddle around and see what order they might go in. So that could possibly happen too. I love the green. It's just such a hard decision to make, but I'll see how I go. This panel is a lot thinner than the others because the popcorns will take up so much yarn, and I don't want it to be so short that it makes the blanket too narrow. So a few little things to work around there. That's okay. We'll get there. Getting back to this again because I'm really quite annoyed by it. It would do me good to probably use stitch markers on each end. That way I can let my mind drift off, but the stitch markers will prompt me to take notice of what I'm doing at the end of each row. I just can't believe I do this. Like I said, I've been crocheting nearly every day for 8 years. And I can't even do a simple row by row without losing a stitch. Any of you out there the same? What my favourite blanket is actually is working in the round with the mandala in the centre. Really like those, and I don't lose stitches on those ones either. I have something else to show you, and it's these Symfonie rose hooks sent to me by Knit Pro. They are a gift pack, and could you imagine receiving these for your birthday or Christmas? Oh, it'd be lovely. They're so nice to use, so smooth, and they just slip through the yarn. I was a little bit concerned because I have tried another timber hook in the past and it just used to catch and pull and it wasn't smooth. So I think the lacquer on the outside of the timber ones have to be a certain type, and these have sure got the goods. Enjoy a little montage of my temperature blanket. Okay guys, that's my whips for today. If you've enjoyed watching my video, give me a big thumbs up, consider subscribing and pop a comment in the comments section. I'd love to get to know you all. Like I said, I think a community here would be great, just like the one I have on Instagram. Rightio, don't forget to press your notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I've got all sorts of things in store and I'm really excited. I'll see you then. Bye.